In 1996, NVIDIA was a tiny company, and we were effectively failing. We had already spent most of our venture capital on our first chip, the NV1, which was a technical marvel, but a commercial disaster. We had tried to use quadratic surfaces for graphics while the rest of the world was moving toward triangles. I had to face a room full of people and admit that our strategy was wrong. We were about 30 days away from running out of money. Total bankruptcy was staring us in the face. I had to call the CEO of Sega, Irimajiri-san, who had invested $7 million in us to build their next-generation console technology. I had to tell him that our technology was the wrong approach, that we wouldn't be able to deliver the contract as promised, and yet, if he didn't pay us the remaining balance of the contract, we would go out of business. It was the most humbling moment of my life, to ask for help, to admit failure, and to ask for the grace to survive based on nothing but the hope of what we could build next. Irimajiri-san, in an act of extraordinary kindness and vision, gave us that money. He saved NVIDIA. That experience taught me that humility is not about being small. It is about being honest with the physics of the situation. It taught me that NVIDIA must always operate as if we are 30 days from bankruptcy. That sense of urgency, that desperate need to solve the most impossible problems because our survival depends on it, is the very soul of this company. I start with this story because today we are facing a different kind of crisis. It's not a crisis of failure, but a crisis of success. A world that is sold out in seconds. When you see the headlines about GPU shortages, when you see that our latest architectures are gone before they even hit the shelves, you are seeing the result of a world that has suddenly realized it is in a race for the future. People ask me, Jensen, why can't you just make more? Why is it so hard to put a piece of silicon in a box? To answer that, you have to understand the first principles of what we are actually building. We are not just building chips. We are building the most complex machines ever conceived by the human mind. A modern NVIDIA GPU, like our Blackwell or the 50 series architecture, is a miracle of physics. It is the intersection of materials science, light-speed interconnects, and billions of transistors packed into a space the size of a postage stamp. When you see a sold-out sign, you are looking at the bottleneck of a new industrial revolution. We are moving from a world where computers calculate to a world where computers generate intelligence, and the hunger for that intelligence is infinite. For 60 years, we lived under the grace of Moore's law. We expected that every couple of years, things would just get twice as fast for the same amount of power. But Moore's law is dead. The physics simply don't allow for that kind of scaling anymore. If we had stayed on the path of the CPU, the world would have run out of energy trying to power the AI models of today. We realized this nearly 20 years ago. We saw that the only way forward was accelerated computing. We decided to rethink the entire stack, from the chips to the systems, to the software, to the algorithms. We spent decades and billions of dollars building CUDA, building a platform for a world that didn't yet exist. Why did we do that? Because the work of your life should be to build things that did not exist before you arrived. If it were easy, someone else would have done it. We chose the hard path. We chose to solve the problem of parallel processing when the rest of the industry thought it was a niche hobby for gamers. Now, that niche has become the engine of the global economy. Every data center, every car company, every pharmaceutical lab, and every nation on Earth now realizes that they need a sovereign AI. They need the ability to produce their own intelligence. This creates a demand shock, unlike anything we have ever seen. When people talk about a GPU shortage, they are often thinking about supply chains and logistics. And yes, those are incredibly difficult. We have to coordinate with thousands of suppliers. We are working with TSMC to push the very limits of lithography. We are working with HBM memory manufacturers to create speeds that defy logic. We are working on liquid cooling systems because the density of compute is now so high that air is no longer enough. But the shortage isn't just about manufacturing. It is about a fundamental shift in the architecture of the world. We are transitioning from retrieval to generation. In the old world, when you used a computer, you were asking it to find something, a file, a web page, a photo. That is a low-intensity task. In the new world, you are asking the computer to create something. You are asking it to reason, to simulate, to predict the structure of a protein, or to navigate a robot through a crowded factory. This requires a level of compute that is orders of magnitude higher. When our GPUs sell out in seconds, it is because every company in the world is trying to build their own AI factory. I've always said that you should run, don't walk. If you are not running toward this future, you are being left behind. The companies that are waiting for the perfect moment to buy a GPU or waiting for the supply chain to settle down are missing the point. The supply chain is not going to settle down to the way it was before because the baseline has changed forever. We are in a permanent state of expansion because we are building the infrastructure of a new civilization. At NVIDIA, we handle this pressure through a very flat organization. I don't sit in an ivory tower. I don't want a hierarchy where information takes weeks to reach me. I want to hear from the engineer who is struggling with a specific signal integrity problem on a 50 series board. I want to know about the failure as soon as it happens, because in a failure, there is a lesson. And in this industry, if you aren't failing, you aren't trying hard enough. We embrace the pain and suffering of these impossible engineering tasks because that is where the breakthroughs live. When you see a sold out notification, I want you to see the complexity behind it. Each of these GPUs is part of a larger symphony. It's not just the silicon, it's the CoWoS packaging, it's the high bandwidth memory, it's the millions of lines of code in the software stack that make it all work. We are orchestrating the most sophisticated supply chain in human history to meet a demand that is essentially the demand for human progress itself. People ask me, Jensen, did you go too far? Did you make these things too powerful, too power hungry, too hard to manufacture? My answer is always, we didn't go far enough. The problems we are trying to solve, climate change, energy fusion, curing cancer, these are problems that require an infinite amount of compute. We are in a race against time. Every day that we don't have enough GPUs in the field is a day that a scientist is waiting for a result. Every second that a GPU is sold out is a second that a new idea is delayed. That is why we feel the urgency. That is why we don't sleep. We are building things that were considered impossible just 5 years ago. We are now generating pixels, not just rendering them. We are using AI to build AI. We are using our own GPUs to design the next generation of GPUs. This is the ultimate virtuous cycle, and it is the reason why the demand is so intense. When you have a tool that can make you 10 times more productive, you don't just buy one. You buy as many as you can get your hands on. I've often told students that I wish them great doses of pain and suffering. It sounds counterintuitive, especially coming from someone who sells tools for acceleration. But the truth is, the shortage crisis has been a period of great pain for us as well. It is painful to see our customers waiting. It is painful to have to tell world leaders that they have to wait for their AI infrastructure. But that pain has forced us to be more creative. It has forced us to invent new ways to pack more compute into smaller spaces. It has forced us to optimize our software to get more out of every single transistor. The shortage is a signal. It's a signal that we are on the right track. If no one wanted what we were making, our lives would be very easy, but our work would be meaningless. We want to do work that is meaningful. We want to build the things that the world can't live without. And right now, the world has decided it cannot live without accelerated computing. When you look at the 50 series or our latest Blackwell chips, you are looking at the culmination of 30 years of survival. Every mistake we made, every time we were 30 days from bankruptcy, every time a project failed, it all taught us something that we used to build this. We learned how to manage heat. We learned how to manage data. We learned how to manage the impossible physics of the subatomic level. I want to be very honest with you about the shortage. We are doing everything humanly possible to increase supply. We are building new factories. We are qualifying new partners. And we are reinventing the way we ship and install these systems. But the reality is that we are building the iPhone of the new industrial revolution. And just like the first iPhones, the world's appetite is much larger than the world's current ability to manufacture. But I don't want you to be discouraged by the sold out sign. I want you to be inspired by it. It means that you are part of a generation that is witnessing the birth of a new era. It means that the tools you are waiting for are so powerful that they are changing the world in real time. Whether you are a gamer wanting to experience the first truly living worlds in a simulation or a researcher trying to map the human brain, you are part of this movement. We are moving toward a world of physical AI. This is the next great frontier. It's not just about AI in a chat box. It's about AI that can perceive the physical world. AI in robots, AI in cars, AI in drones. This will require even more compute. It will require even more innovation. And yes, it will likely lead to more sold-out signs. But we will not stop. We will keep running. We will keep pushing the boundaries of what is possible, because that is what we were born to do. NVIDIA is not a chip company. We are an AI infrastructure company. We provide the nervous system for the modern world. And when you are building a nervous system, you have to be rigorous. You have to be resilient. You have to be willing to suffer through the complexity so that the end user can have a seamless experience. We take the complexity so you don't have to. We take the 600-watt problem, the thermal problem, the packaging problem, and we turn it into a single elegant solution that fits in your hand or your data center. That data center is the new unit of computing. We used to think of a computer as a box that sits on your desk, but today, the computer is the entire building. It is a massive interconnected fabric of GPUs, switches, and miles of optical cables. When you see our products sold out in seconds, it's because the world's largest companies and entire nations have realized that the data center is no longer a cost center. It is an AI factory. In the previous industrial revolutions, the factory took in raw materials like iron and coal and produced physical goods. In this new revolution, the factory takes in data and electricity and produces intelligence. This intelligence is the most valuable commodity ever created, and the demand for it is effectively infinite. This shift has created a unique challenge in the supply chain that goes far beyond simple manufacturing. To build a Blackwell system or a 50 series enthusiast card, we aren't just looking for silicon wafers. We are looking for specialized components that didn't even exist a few years ago. We are talking about CoWoS packaging, which allows us to stack logic and memory in ways that defy traditional physics. We are talking about HBM3E, the fastest memory in the world, which is in such high demand that the entire world's production is spoken for years in advance. We are building these things at the very edge of what is possible. When a machine is that complex, the supply chain is fragile. A single missing connector, a single specialized cooling fluid, or a single delay in a subatomic lithography process can ripple through the entire system. But we do not make excuses. We solve problems. That is what NVIDIA does. When people ask when the shortage will end, I tell them that we are working at light speed to expand capacity. We are qualifying new fabricators. We are reinventing how we test these chips to move them through the line faster, and we are working with our partners to build new infrastructure. However, you must understand that the normal we are returning to is a much higher baseline of demand. The world has discovered a new way of doing work. In the old world, you wrote software. In the new world, the AI learns the software. This transition from software 1.0 to software 2.0 is the reason for the hunger. Every line of code ever written is going to be reevaluated through the lens of AI. Every business process is going to be accelerated. This is why I tell everyone, run, don't walk. If you are waiting for the supply chain to go back to 2019, you are waiting for a world that no longer exists. You have to adapt. You have to find ways to be productive with the compute you have while moving toward the compute you need. At NVIDIA, we apply the same urgency to our own internal processes. We use our own AI to optimize our supply chain. We use our digital twins in Omniverse to simulate our factories before they are even built, ensuring that we can maximize every square inch of production space. We are using the very technology that is in high demand to solve the problem of that demand. I've always believed that a company's structure should reflect its mission. Because our mission is to move at the speed of light, we have no hierarchy. I have 50 direct reports. Why? Because I don't want a telephone game where the truth of a manufacturing bottleneck gets diluted as it moves up a chain of command. I want to be in the trenches. I want to know why a specific shipment of HBM is delayed. I want to understand the first principles of the failure so we can invent a first principles solution. This lack of status and focus on the mission is what has allowed us to survive the Riva 128 crisis, the 2008 financial crisis, and now the greatest demand shock in the history of technology. We are entering the era of sovereign AI. Every country now realizes that its data, its culture, its language, its history is its most precious natural resource. They don't want to send that data to a foreign cloud to be processed. They want to build their own AI factories on their own soil. This is a massive new layer of demand that didn't exist 2 years ago. When a nation decides it needs to build its own intelligence infrastructure, they don't buy 10 GPUs. They buy tens of thousands. They are building the foundation of their future economy. This is why the 50 series reveal is so shocking to the system. It brings that same level of sovereign-grade power to the individual, the researcher, and the small business owner. I know it is frustrating when you can't get the hardware you need to pursue your dreams. I feel that pain deeply, but I want you to remember that the character of a creator is forged in the struggle. I spent my youth cleaning tables and washing dishes, and those years gave me the resilience to lead NVIDIA through its darkest days. If you are a developer or a gamer waiting for your chance to step into this new world, use this time to sharpen your vision, learn the algorithms, master the frameworks, build your software 2.0 skills. The hardware will come, but the readiness to use it must be built now. The 50 series is the most ambitious consumer product we have ever created. It is designed to be the bridge between the desktop and the AI factory. It features the same fundamental breakthroughs in tensor processing and memory efficiency that we developed for the largest supercomputers. We are democratizing the most powerful technology in human history. We are putting a supercomputer in your home. And yes, the demand is staggering because people recognize that this is not just a gaming upgrade. It is a ticket to the new industrial revolution. We are now looking at the next frontier, physical AI. This is the moment when AI steps out of the screen and into the physical world. It's robotics, it's autonomous machines, it's the ability for an AI to perceive, reason, and act in a 3D environment. To make this happen, we need to simulate the world with perfect fidelity. We need to create omniverse environments where robots can be trained millions of times in a digital twin before they ever enter a real factory. The compute required for this is gargantuan. This is why we are pushing the power envelopes. This is why we are reinventing cooling. This is why we are obsessed with performance per watt. We are building the brain for the robots that will help us solve the most difficult problems of our species. I look back at the CEO of Sega who saved us 30 years ago. He didn't save us because our technology was perfect. It wasn't. He saved us because he believed in our spirit. He believed in our ability to face failure, to learn, and to keep running. Today, I see that same spirit in the millions of developers and creators who are waiting for our GPUs. You aren't just customers. You are our partners in building the future. Your hunger for this technology is what drives us to do the impossible every single day. We are building these chips for you. The GPU shortage is a testament to the fact that we are all part of something much bigger than ourselves. We are witnesses to a fundamental shift in the human story. For the first time, we are creating a tool that can amplify our intelligence in the same way that the steam engine amplified our strength. This is a responsibility we take very seriously. We are not just making toys, we are making the instruments of human progress. And we will not stop until that power is in the hands of everyone who has a vision to share. As we move forward, the sold out signs will eventually be replaced by the incredible things you build. The frustration of the wait will be forgotten when you see your AI model successfully predicting a new drug or your autonomous system navigating a complex environment. That is the reward. That is the light at the end of the tunnel. We are working day and night to bring that light to you as fast as the laws of physics allow. The future is not something that happens to us. It is something we build. Every line of code, every simulation, every prompt is a brick in the architecture of tomorrow. We have chosen to build a world of accelerated intelligence, a world where the impossible is just a problem that hasn't been solved yet. We have chosen to be a company of learners, a company that welcomes the pain of innovation because we know it leads to the joy of discovery. The transition we are witnessing is the most profound change in the history of computing. The era of the general-purpose CPU is giving way to the era of the accelerated AI factory. This is the truth that underpins everything we do. The demand is high because the value is transformative. The shortage is real because the revolution is real. But our resolve to meet that demand is even more real. We will keep innovating, we will keep scaling, and we will keep running. I want to thank you for your patience, your passion, and your belief in what we are building together. You are the reason we push the limits of silicon and software. You are the reason we stay 30 days from bankruptcy. You are the reason we run. The future is bright, it is accelerated, and it is powered by you. I'm so excited to see what you create with these tools. If you want to stay at the forefront of this revolution and see how we're solving these impossible problems, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It helps us build this community of visionaries. Also, I know many of you have very specific questions about the 50 series, our supply chain, or the future of AI. Please leave those questions in the comments below. I, Jensen, will be looking through them, and I will respond to your questions quickly. Your feedback is what keeps us humble and keeps us focused on what matters. The logical conclusion of our journey is this: the world's hunger for intelligence will only grow, and our mission to provide it is only beginning. We have moved from triangles to pixels, from pixels to AI, and now from AI to the physical world. There is no turning back. The path is set. Run, don't walk. I'll see you in the future.